Hey yo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Coaster Spotlight. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at Jurassic Park, The Ride, sent in by one of our Discord builders, Maka94. So stay tuned and let's check it out. Alright guys, welcome back to Coaster Spotlight. It's been a while since we did a regular episode other than the Mass Effect for episode 500. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But I thought coming back to Coaster Spotlight and seeing Jurassic Park in my inbox was a great way to kick things off, as Jurassic World Evolution did just come out a while ago. It's time to take a look at a coaster themed around exactly that. So this was sent in by a Discord builder, Maka94, and he says, "Hello, this submission is called Jurassic Park The Ride. I built this coaster with a story in mind, and I hope it shows in the coaster. You have stumbled upon the ruins of an old Jurassic Park visitor center. As you explore the overgrown ruins, you have incidentally turned the power back on, but the systems can't handle it, suffers a catastrophic meltdown. Quickly find your way out through the center and hope you don't attract unwanted attentions from the locals. Oh, and don't forget to get your photo on the way out too." I've tried to fix my coaster building from the feedback I got from my last submission, and I hope it paid off, but I'm still not a coaster builder, so probably not the best, but still hope you enjoy it. There's a link attached for pictures and all that. Alright, Maka94, let me see here. It says he submitted something before, but I don't quite remember. Oh, he did the Jurassic Park. Alright, and that one, we had some iffy coasters in there, if you guys remember that one. Let's see if he's improved since his previous spotlight. All right, everybody, here we are at the Jurassic Park. Now, this was a scenario. Let's see how many pieces this is. 9,000. You could probably get away with, if you trimmed it down to 8K, you could probably get away with a two-part blueprint. Seems a little bit tricky to do, but I do appreciate the idea of a scenario. Maybe you could actually push that one step further and have a little bit of a starting area themed with some Jurassic Park stuff. Doing a scenario would be pretty cool. You definitely have nailed your Jurassic Park aesthetics, and we did see that from your actual park file. The welcoming center here looks very reminiscent of Jurassic Park. I mean, look at that. Absolutely beautiful work on this. Let's walk on in here and check out the coaster. Oh, look at that. Some pictures of some dinos. All right. So we do have a corkscrew, a Deegan looping corkscrew coaster. Here's a look at the stats. 4.43, 2.94 fear, and a 0.6 nausea. Let's jump on into this.
Arthur Sato Tidina Mebose Sabo. Sato Tidina Mebose Sabo.
And it broke down. All right, I think I have a lot to talk about for this one here today, so let's get right on into it. I guess we could start with the nighttime lighting. Nighttime lighting's a little bit crazy. There's a lot going on here with the pink, the blue. Also has a cosmic cow vibe. I think you should have stuck with the subtle oranges as you have there. Not really... When you use green, you got to use it in very subtle amounts, as it can give you like that toxic vibe. But because you only have just a little bit there, I think it works. But still a little bit on the oversaturated feel. I'd bring that down into the yellows a little bit, as well as neutralize it a little bit more so it's not so saturated. But the orange really does work here, as well as the blue, but in subtle amounts. Yeah, that's pretty much my feedback there. I think the peach can work if you work it in very softly. Now, in terms of your art, you definitely have an eye for detail, especially with this Jurassic Park stuff. As we can see here, I mean, it looks and feels like Jurassic Park. Love your gates, love the center. I mean, I can't praise it enough. I definitely think you have an eye for art when it comes to this stuff. What really impressed me was the interior. You did a little bit of a dark ride, some storytelling elements, and here we have the what do you call it? The little egg room where they're doing their thing, messing with the eggs, messing with evolution. This room here was also very impressive. Lots of triggered events and storytelling going on in here, and I think overall is very solid. Now, where we start to go a little bit crazy is with the coaster design. And I would have to say, since your Jurassic Park submission that we featured, I think you have improved the smoothness of your coaster. We didn't have these jarring, crazy turns and all this wacky stuff happening to us. You still got some ways to go to get the coaster to where it needs to be. So the few things that I would point out here that I'm noticing the most is just the amount of lifts and brake sections that you're using for not many good reasons. So our main lift, we go up here. I mean, you could have accomplished that with just one lift here, and you didn't need to take it this high. Why? Because you end up braking. I think there was a tad bit of brakes in here somewhere, right here. Yeah, brakes. You had too much speed. Why'd you have too much speed? Because your lift was too high. And then you hit the brakes again down here, a lot of them too. And then you hit the brakes again here, and then we go into this corkscrew, and then you hit the brakes again and into this part where you wanted to again tell some more storytelling. So I understand the reason for the brakes is you want the coaster to be going slower through here. The big pointer I can give on coaster design, even for like just beginners, like I'm definitely no coaster enthusiast and I'm not an engineer by any means, but I understand pacing. I've seen thousands and thousands of coasters in this game so far, and I can tell and see good pacing and know how to accomplish that as well. So going off the use of your momentum of your coaster has a ton of momentum going through here. Enough speed and momentum to carry you the rest of the way throughout this coaster without having any more lifts. However, you do have like 3 or 4 more lifts. The amount of lifts in this is just overkill in my opinion. There are a few workarounds to kind of get your pacing better. Now, the first one would have been to, I guess, you could have had the lift go up to about here, and then the coaster rides around. You could have had the coaster hugging the building more, drop down here. That's where you get the corkscrew, rides up and around the gates, and then, you know, you wouldn't have needed all those brakes, and you would have been going at a good pace, and by the time you get here, you wouldn't need any more brake sections here. I see that you wanted the storytelling here, so another thing to consider for the future is your choice of coaster. Was a traditional corkscrew coaster the best choice here? In some cases, I would say a torque launch coaster would have worked better, but even better, torque coaster, you cannot swap out the car. So I understand you wanted to use this car type, and I think your coloring and the coaster choice here, it looks very suitable for Jurassic World. What you do is you create the winged launch coaster, because that one allows you to swap off the train for something else, such as the Deegan here. So you make a winged launch coaster, you just use it for the launch mechanic, So it's essentially a torque at that point. You swap out your car to this guy or something else. Maybe you would have found something more suitable than this. And now you have the ability to use launch mechanics. That way you can drive the pacing of your coaster. So going through your little area here, you started it off nice and high. So you could drive wheel through. You don't need any lifts because of the height that you've put in here. You have the momentum dropping down there to go through here. So again, we don't need any lifts. But at any point, if you wanted to slow this down or speed it up, you have the launch mechanic to do so. So you got to just launch this up out of here, gone through, and then as we're going through here, you'd have a small little boost. It takes us up and does what we need to do. That way you can control the pacing a lot better. And when you're a newer or a builder that's not very efficient at coaster momentum yet, what ends up happening when you build something like this, you make this lift, you build the coaster, you make it do what you want, and then how do you fix it? You just keep adding in brakes and adding in lifts, adding in brakes. When you add in too many brakes and lifts, it kind of contradicts itself, and the ride starts to, I guess, fall apart in terms of coaster momentum and smoothness. The fun experience is kind of being duct taped back together. Whereas if it was a launch coaster, you would be able to control that experience a little bit more. If it's going too fast, reduce the amount of launches or the speed of the launch, lower it, and then if you're running out of momentum, you can kick in a few more, and that would allow you to get the pacing up to this point to where you need it, and then we boost out again. Yeah, you wouldn't need all these crazy lifts. Seeing this many lifts and at their heights that they are is a little bit of an eyesore, but this is all feedback to you trying to get your coaster momentum done right. We saw that you struggled with that on the Jurassic Park Spotlight, but your smoothing has been improved there. Hopefully in the next one that you make, you can take into this consideration some of those things, your pacing, your momentum. Don't use brakes unless you need to, or unless you're going into a block section and you're wanting to get more trains on. A few little trim brakes into a block section and then into another drop is quite nice, and you could probably had something like that up here. Yeah, just a little bit of playing around with that momentum. Some things to think about there. But again, your smoothing, it's not jarring like your previous coasters, and your detailing is what's important here. You definitely have an eye for detail yet again, and you've even gone up one notch using all the triggered events, the lighting, the screens, the custom audio files, and all that. I think it really shows here. Based off of the way you build, and also the way you build your coasters, no offense, I think you're the type of creator that would do really well with dark rides. And I mean track rides, motion track rides, car rides, all that sort of stuff, because you're not worrying about the moment, all the things that you struggle with a coaster. You don't run into those issues with rides. The strongest thing that you do in your creations is the art. So I think maybe you should try your hand at a track ride for the next submission. But also, I still encourage you to continue working on your coasters, because I'd love to see you take some of the tips I gave with the momentum and to iterate on that one more time. When you're testing your coaster, don't build the whole thing complete. When it gets to the top of this lift and you do your corkscrew here and you're doing all this stuff, see how fast it's going. And you're coming into here, you're noticing that you need to add trim brakes. Well, that means if your coaster is incomplete and you've only done these couple things, and you're noticing it's way too fast, the G-forces are way too high, and it's doing way too many crazy things, well, then you just got to go back and lower your lift. That's going to save you a lot of headaches, and you don't have to go in there and add the trim brakes and all that. And now you try it again, it makes it over, it makes it around, it makes it through here, and it's coming into here at a nice speed without brakes. And now you have a good pace. Now you can move forward with your coaster experience. I guess like the next problem I was going to say is your lifts. So that's something to consider when you're choosing your coaster type. How high do you want this coaster to go? Do you want to do that all with a bunch of lifts? If you're going to do dark ride coaster, it's best to control that experience with something that has launches. Boom. So that's my thoughts and feedback on this one here today. I think it's a pretty strong submission overall. Beautiful artwork, great representation of Jurassic World. Definitely keep at it, Mac and 94. You are doing some great stuff, and I'm liking that you've made a lot of improvements on your coasters from the last ones. This is definitely a step forward in the right direction. So there you go, everybody. That's going to do it for this episode of Coaster Spotlight. If you enjoyed, please be sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more daily Planet Coaster videos. And if you'd like to support the show, you could do so by becoming a patron. Links are down in the description below. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a fantastic day, and we will see you in the next video. Bye now.